Yo, fucking damn it. Damn it.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
It is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can. Fucking champion of the Peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the Yard of Streams for another edition of the Smackdown Breakdown, part of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And not only is Joe Hendry with us here in the Yard of Streams, we also have the best of the West you can't forget about. Sarah Marshall, what's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
I'm fine. Tired.
Grinding on that off season or training camp, I mean, and preseason football.
Yep. The game tomorrow. So I have to work tomorrow, but I don't have to start until later because they don't play until 5. So.
Oh yeah, those West Coast times. I'm telling you, you have it so nice for football season. It's
I know.
Unfucking believable.
It's one of those things that makes me like not like a lot, but it makes me question ever moving back to the East Coast because I'm like, the fact that I will have to start watching a game at 8 p.m. ain't it. And I love it. I like 10 a.m. games, 1 p.m.
Yeah.
games. You can't Joe Hendry me if you're trying.
I was checking the comments.
All right, just letting you know.
Whoa, I was very
I can see you. I can see you going for your mouse.
My mouse.
So that's how I said. I was just like,
no. I'll Joe Hendry you when you least expect it. Don't you worry. I was getting to the comment of DS. Hello.
Wow, that was loud.
Murrido. Yeah, it was. But no, Patriots season is upon us. Football season is upon us. But wrestling season is always upon us. There is no end to wrestling season. As I was listening to, actually, you need to listen to it, or at least part of it, because it is the longest Chris Van Fleet interview he has done. The Scott D'Amore interview. Oh. It was very good. I really recommend it. I was listening to it as I was driving around Boston solving problems. And he just has such an awesome mind of the business. And I'm very interested to see what Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling can do. Mm-hmm. Because he was describing it as kind of just like what we say, remember how how we talk, say like the forbidden door, and I would say the forbidden lobby. It basically is that. It's like the meeting ground for all these places. And even back in the day when you never thought Vince was doing business with anyone, well, it was the territory days. Everyone was doing business with each other. And Bruno Sammartino was the WWF champion, fighting in this. And then you had the NW. So if it can be something like that, mm-hmm. where it's just a place where all promotions go, and it is that meeting place for the forbidden door, I'm so into it. And especially with all the crossovers and faces showing up in random places, I would go listen to the interview. I could go on and on and on. We got to talk about SmackDown here, Sarah. Okay. So go tune in to that interview from Chris Van Fleet, our friend Chris Van Fleet, Sarah.
Yeah.
We actually did
briefly meet him.
Yeah, it was awesome. He saw my belt. I think the belt got him over to us, technically. Look at me.
Maybe.
Good job. Good job.
Okay. So SmackDown kicks off with the Grayson Waller effect. And if you haven't watched it, check it out, because we're just going to talk about the storylines that came from it. And one of them is the constant teasing of the inevitable breakup between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which has been something that they have been teasing for months at this point. Basically, after WrestleMania, I mean, they won the tag titles, but like there was tension there and whatever. So they teased it again on SmackDown this week. And then it just kind of gets me thinking if it's something that's even going to happen, because we kind of talked about this briefly. I think it was when we were talking about SmackDown last week. And I don't always believe in the idea that the time, that there's a certain time where something's going to work and it can never be a good time for that to work after that. But it does feel like they had such a good opportunity to have Austin Theory turn babyface when they were feuding with DIY, and DIY was like kind of in Theory's ear and trying to let him know, like, Waller's just using you, blah, 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 blah. Like, the crowd was really behind him, and they did nothing with it. So I just kind of question if, first of all, if this is going to happen at all. But I also question if the opportunity has passed for it to be successful for Theory to turn on Waller.
I don't think at all. I think it's going at a fine pace. Yeah, it is a little slow. I'm not going to totally disagree with you there. It is a little slow, but what they're doing is planting details, with this person saying, he's using you and all this. And if you get as many people to put in his ear and the anticipation, like we're saying, like, oh, I should have done it already. And then, we should have done it here. At the last moment where you think it's never going to happen, that's the best time to do it. And it kind of what we're talking about. It feels like, is it ever going to happen? I still think we can wait a little bit for it. Because what else are they doing? It's TV time. If this was basically the Teddy Long extravaganza or Teddy Long special for SmackDown. Like, the tag team, they need to be together.
I think I just question how well it will be received, because it feels like the crowd was behind it and ready for it during that time with DIY. So I think that they'll have to kind of try to replicate something like that for the fans to care, because I think if it were just to happen now, no one's going to care, because they're not supposed to like Waller and they're not supposed to like Theory. There's no reason for them to get behind Theory, but they were getting behind him when Gargano and Ciampa were like kind of trying to convince him about what Waller's true intentions were. So they would have to get to that point. I just wonder how they would go about that, where it's not like repetitive, where people can still buy into it and care, but also in a way that it would help elevate Theory, because I think he needs to be able to turn babyface and for it to be successful and for people to cheer for it. You can't just have it and then it's crickets in the arena, because how many times have we seen turns like that, whether it was for
exactly
to be a heel or a babyface. So
there's no reason to do it if it's not going to pay off to anything. That's why I just don't mind. I don't care to see it go off to anything. To me, Austin Theory is still Austin Theory. So it's just like, why not? Why are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I get that their partnership is working right now. For most people, I just think it's weird how it felt like they were really gearing up for them to split, and then they just like immediately did a 180 and were like, oh yeah, never mind. Like, it was just kind of weird, because every single week we were like, tonight's the night, it's gonna happen tonight. Then it didn't. Then we're like, okay, it's gonna be next week, and then it didn't. And now it's like they're better friends and whatever, and then we keep seeing these little snippets of what might be still lingering in Theory's brain, but they just haven't put two and two together yet. So I'm not sure, but
I'm not sure. I'm very interested to see what goes down with this, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Diaz
I love Waller.
Oh, I do too. Diaz says, considering they have so few heels, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep them both heel, and if they ever turn, is Waller betraying Theory because he has talent to be an asshole? Yes, I think that's how it is, because the reason why we've even been playing with the idea of Theory being babyface is because he hasn't been a super convincing heel. He's definitely grown since his days of taking selfies and, you know, his obsession with the US title. He's definitely come a long way since then. But I do think that he would probably thrive as a babyface. But I do agree, and I believe Pat does too, that there aren't too many heels in the company in general, but especially on SmackDown. So, you know, that's an issue that we've talked about with Cody specifically, is that he doesn't have anyone to go against except for Solo and the Bloodline, basically.
Exactly. There's no, you're right. There's no one other than the Bloodline.
But then when you're thinking with that logic, is you don't really anticipate Grayson Waller or Austin Theory as heels to be getting a WWE title shot. So I don't know how it really impacts that, and you know what I mean. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I do think Theory could be a good babyface because he is just such a nice guy. But we're gonna have to keep waiting apparently, because they just want to tease it and then that's it. That's as far as it goes. All right, and then we see LA Knight with his first title defense since becoming US champion. Of course, he's going to compete against Santos Escobar, because Santos Escobar is another one who is obsessed with the US title as long as a babyface has it, because he didn't really care about it when Logan Paul had it, but he also couldn't really care about it because Logan was never around. LA Knight, he is arguably, I would say, under Cody, like the biggest babyface on the card, maybe below Roman.
Oh my God, did you hear that pop? It was
every single week. Well, he is also from the DC area, so I'm sure that helped a little bit. But
it helped. But God damn, and I love the red and yellow presentation. I'm a big fan.
And it's different than the red and yellow that we're used to from Hulk Hogan. You know, like when I look at LA Knight's stuff, I don't get Hogan vibes, because there's a way to go about it. Yeah, well, I think it's because I feel like there's more of an emphasis with him on red than yellow. Because I would say he's red and yellow, whereas Hogan is yellow and red. If you know, like, do you get what I mean? Like the emphasis with Hogan was yellow.
What color was his tights?
Yeah, yellow.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but LA Knight is definitely thriving since becoming US champion. And I mean, I guess I could argue that this should have happened a long time ago, because listen to the reaction he gets every single night, but I guess I can't complain because at least it happened. And so he obviously retains against Santos Escobar, and then he lets us know that he will be issuing an open challenge for the title in Berlin. However,
we got into a little.
Yeah, however,
so you start, ladies first.
No clarification about when that open challenge will be happening, because the SmackDown crew are already on their way, if not already, in Germany. So when he says it's going to be in Berlin, technically that could be happening on SmackDown. We already know a couple other title matches are going to be happening on SmackDown in Berlin next week. So before we get into who could potentially be the challenger, what is your take about, because you don't agree, but let's say for argument's sake his open challenge is on SmackDown. How do you feel about it being on SmackDown versus at Bash in Berlin?
Do not mind, because it legitimizes the television show. You know, it makes you want to watch SmackDown. Like before, you would not want to watch SmackDown. It's like, oh, he's just gonna face him at the show. He's gonna face him at the PLE.
But
so why not?
Are there really that many people that are not watching SmackDown because LA Knight?
No, but they're gonna
Wouldn't you
watch
say that
SmackDown.
Roman is making people watch? Cody is making people watch?
Yeah, you're missing the point. I am saying that LA Knight fans, like, you're getting fans and people who are on the fence to watch, like, oh, it's LA Knight. Oh, but he's gonna be fighting a Bash, but I'll just watch that anyways. Where now you're gonna get them to watch both, because it's like, oh, he's on SmackDown, I'm not gonna see him on the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like, because you're not gonna see him on the pay-per-view, you're gonna watch pay-per-view anyways. But you're gonna watch SmackDown now too, because LA Knight is on, and that's your favorite out of the whole company,
But
or
see,
one of your favorites.
But from a business standpoint, that's lazy, in my opinion, because wouldn't you want more people to buy Peacock so that they have to watch so they could watch Bash in Berlin?
Yeah, but you need to cater to the weekend.
Okay, well, so you're okay with it if it happens on SmackDown and not Bash in Berlin?
I'm okay with it. But I want it to be a Bash in Berlin after who you said was I want that, and I'm going the full 9. I want my fandom to shine in this one.
So I personally don't love it if it's going to be on SmackDown. I think it's just kind of a disservice to his reign so far. Like, he just had his first title defense on SmackDown. I get that it's like when they have PLE and the SmackDown the night before is in the same city. I get that they kind of try to treat it like a 2-night pay-per-view, but the vibe is not the same, So it's like, it might be catering to that crowd by saying like, okay, it's kind of like a 2-night PLE. Okay, but that's not the way that it's interpreted to the people who are watching at home, So it's like, you're still having somebody defend a title on SmackDown. It would feel significantly more important if they had it the next night on the PLE. So I just feel like because he just defended the title on SmackDown, it should be at the PLE. And for all we know, that could be what their plan is, because as of right now, as of Saturday, whenever, because I'm not sure when this is going to go up, as of Saturday, I believe there are only 4 matches scheduled for Bash in Berlin. So there's no reason for them to not add a 5th unless they plan on having like, the strap match is probably going to go a little bit long simply because of the stipulation, but it's still 4 matches is pretty low for a Triple H standard. Usually he sticks with 5. I think
4 is very low. That's why I think one's going to get announced.
So that brings me to the next point of
it's Tony.
We have talked about, okay, who's this open challenge who's the person that's going to answer the open challenge? We were literally just talking about how there are not big heels on SmackDown, although you could argue that Austin Theory could accept the challenge, Grayson Waller could accept the challenge, because the next night is Bash in Berlin. That it's not going to be like Kevin Owens, it's not going to be a member of the Bloodline, it's not, so my idea, simply because we've been seeing vignettes and he also didn't get a vignette on SmackDown, I'm into the idea of it being Giovanni Vinci, because they've been promoting him and his return, and he's clearly going to be a heel, and he might not be from Germany, but he's from Italy, wrestled around Europe, so I'm into his...
It's just European talent. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and his re-debut being that he's challenging LA Knight. I feel like that could be pretty cool.
It would be. That's why I'm into it. And the way you would do it, how I am envisioning it, is you have him go on the big screen and cut a promo and tease how he's too big of a star to be wrestling in a title match on SmackDown. He should be fighting at Bash in Berlin. It's far-fetched, but fuck it. If that's how we're gonna get Vinci on TV, I'm all for it. Just send him to the moon. By the way, there's 5 matches.
Really?
They added the women's tag title match last night.
No, they added that to SmackDown.
Nope.
Oh, is it at Bash in Berlin? Okay.
It's at Bash in Berlin.
That shocks me. They're really going to put the tag titles at Berlin instead of the women's title match? It's like, because they already have another tag match on the card.
Yeah, but it's Jade and Bianca.
So put that on SmackDown. Put Nia Michin.
Alba Fire.
Okay.
And Isla Dawn, who are what we were just talking about, European.
That's fine. You can still do it on SmackDown in Berlin. You should put the women's title on Bash in Berlin, because the other women's title is not being defended. I would have preferred a switch, but to me that just makes it feel like you're gonna give it back to Bianca and Jade. But whatever.
After how their match ended, I disagree.
I don't know. See, I mean, I get this at a certain point, but it's also like.
See, no, Tony gets it, bro.
It's $9.99.
Tony, you get it.
It's also $9.99.
It's still, but you
at
need
the same time, you cannot be just putting all of his matches on SmackDown because some people can't afford it. Like that cannot be an argument because then that would be like, why is Cody never defending his title on SmackDown? Why is Gunther never defending it on Raw? Like more people would be turning into that instead of the U.S. title match. I don't think that that's an argument. You can use that argument for every single PLE then. There would be no point in PLE having them.
No, that's no.
Yes.
No. It's not. You're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong.
You're wrong.
Oh yeah, Nathaniel says AJ Styles. I don't hate it, but we haven't seen AJ Styles since he was against Cody Rhodes, so I don't know that he would come back and like go for the US title. That feels like a downgrade. Just because of the last time we saw him, it was against Cody. I don't hate it though, because he was supposed to come back allegedly.
Yeah, you're gonna get the championship.
This brings me to the backstage segment between Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Melo was talking some ish, thinking that he somehow got one over on Andrade when they have split it 2-1 in their series of matches, which Andrade is not happy to hear, and he busts in and is like, hey brother, you want to talk some ish? Do it in the ring next week. So this has been a feud that a lot of people have been very interested in and have loved their matches, obviously, because they're absolutely killing it. And I'm like loving it because I'm like, yes, everybody acknowledge Andrade. Okay, every time I say acknowledge, I can't help but think about Roman, but like, come on. Acknowledge Andrade because we all know that Carmelo
acknowledge your champion.
Good.
Acknowledge him.
I'd love that they're going to be doing another match between them. It's possible that they'll go to 7 or even 5, like people have said. But I wanted to bring this up because I do think that the series of matches idea is usually reserved for matches like this where it's like, oh my god, yeah, we literally could watch you fight forever. So that isn't something that always happens, and it doesn't happen that often, so I'm not saying that, but I feel like it would be nice if we could see it more because I feel like it's been a while since we've seen matches like this where it became like a heated rivalry because they keep fighting and, you know, they're splitting the wins and whatever. Like, I kind of feel like WWE has enough talent to pull this off with plenty of other people, men and women. I would love if it could go beyond Andrade and Melo.
I would too. Because you know what it does? It adds more element to feuds. You know what I mean? Like I could see this going on for a little bit between Melo and Andrade.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's interesting. They put on good matches. Their backstage interactions are very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why not putting them together. And it doesn't have to be just one-on-one stuff. You know, it could be with just little things with it. Like this could be a nag thing so that when one of them does get an eventual championship, then they have an automatic feud, like a trilogy for a title or something. I'm for it. I want to see more of these.
Me too, especially for not for titles, because that is something that we always talk about, that, you know, they need to have more compelling stories or really good matches that don't involve a title, because obviously there are only so many titles in the company for them to really be able to showcase them. There's too many people on the roster to, you know, like they outnumber the titles. So if we can see more matches like this and it's not just PLEs, I'm into it. I do think that they should be treated like a little bit more special though. You know, like I feel like this kind of came about because of the reaction from the fans, you know, like they probably did have 2 matches scheduled. They're like, all right, let's put this together. And then people were like, oh, that was kind of good. But then they did it again. And then people were like, I want to see this again. That's why they did it a 3rd time. And because their reaction was just as good, if not better, they're like, all right, let's keep this going. I feel like organically it's so much better. So, yeah, I would love to keep seeing this. It would be nice to have this with women because it really is just a thing of like, who's better. It's not who is the number 1 contender or, oh, she's defended the title this many times, blah, blah, blah. It's literally just like, I'm the better man in this matchup. Like, I'm better than you. That's all it is. So that's why the matches are so good, because it's an ego thing,
Ego.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Gotta win it when they hit it with a smile. Fuck. Damn it. You know what? I'll take that, Joe Hendry, because now it's gonna be stuck in your head. So, welcome.
All right. Well, we just said, and I knew this. Look at this. I did this as a friggin' banner, and I'm like, they're at Bash in Berlin. I'm so stupid. I already knew. I just forgot. So we found out that Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair will be facing the Unholy Union at Bash in Berlin for the tag team titles. And I guess I kind of just want to get like an interest level in this, because we talk often about the state of the women's tag team division and how we're not thrilled about how they book them and whatever. And I feel like it's great that they're still having Jade and Bianca be a team. I think that people want to see that. And so I don't have a problem with that. But I do think that it feels kind of like not a coincidence that the next time that they're really trying to feature the tag team champions is when they're overseas. Like, it just feels like, oh, yep, our tag team champions are Scottish, so like, let's go and put them on the show that's in Germany, because they haven't done anything with them basically since Clash at the Castle. So that is a little bit disappointing, but I mean, I guess I'm glad that they're going to be featured on the show, because there is another women's match. So
to me, this does feel that Bianca and Jade are going to win.
That's what
they're
I
just
feel.
being presented so powerfully. And Alba Dawn, I know Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, excuse me, did a great job with the tag team titles. I think that it served its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They're now a legit tag team in the women's division. Now give it to Bianca and Jade again. You kind of need, you're kind of building the big 3. Like, they keep saying it, and it's really good marketing. It really is.
It is, yeah, especially with women too, because
oh
that's
my
different.
God, it's so good. They're the big 3, and they're just like, Jade Cargill is, oh my God, like sculpted from God.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't think they made human beings that look like that. And it's like that shit you see at a museum. Like, I don't look like this. You know what I mean? Like,
calm down.
No, I'm being straight down the middle. Like, I am fascinated with like someone's body can look like that. And then you have Bianca that's just as jacked. You need to build them to the moon, and they're great in the ring. I also wanted to bring up this point, Sarah, because I took some notes that I keep forgetting about Smackdown.
I have a point.
One of them,
I have a point to make about this as well.
Okay, I made a point about how hilarious it is that AEW fumbled Jade Cargill.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who watched her at least 15 wins, I'm not going to say I was right from the start, but at least 15 wins into her TBS championship reign, I watched Jade Cargill and saw, yes, unbelievable athlete, sculpted from God, all that stuff. But it was the same shit every week, and it just got like a little bit better. Like, oh my God, it was a move, but like she's still doing like that. Like, you could tell that Stu is still very raw, green, whatever you want to call it. Now with her in WWE, you can tell immediately that she is being trained by the best in the world. And the moves that she's not only doing, but capitalizing on, where they look smooth, it is really well done. It is really, she's put in a lot of work, you can tell. And having her and Bianca together, like, that's the WWE difference. Jade Cargill is the epitome of the WWE difference.
Yeah, and we talked about that, how much she would benefit from going to WWE because of the Performance Center. It's like, you know, if you're someone who's trying to get better and you're a little bit younger in your career of wrestling, there's like no excuse for you to not train. They literally have a facility dedicated to that. Whereas if you're in the indies, or you're not in wrestling school anymore, or you're in AEW or TNA or whatever, like, they don't have places like that. So it's like you have to try and find a place like that, or you have to build a ring in your own house, and like, people don't always have the money for that. So the fact that they just have this readily available for people works in the favor of them, and like Jade. So anyway, the point I wanted to make was, as much as it disappoints me a little bit about the Unholy Union not being champions anymore, simply because it feels like such a waste of their reign, because I feel like they are really good and I wish that they could have been featured on television more. I feel like if they're trying to make the women's tag titles seem relevant or important, then they have to put it on girls like Jade and Bianca, because they're going to put Jade and Bianca on TV every single week, whether they're champion or not. So if you put tag titles on them, then that guarantees the tag titles are going to be shown on Smackdown. They could show up on Raw. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the way that they're going to pay more attention or put more effort into the women's tag title division, or tag division, sorry, then I'm into it. Like, I'd prefer that, because obviously when they put it on other girls like the Unholy Union, they're not doing anything with them. The same argument could have been made when they did it with like Damage Control. It was like they were not doing anything with them, or Katana and Kaden. They were doing nothing with them, regardless of the fact that they deserved it, because they are a legitimate women's tag team. So it's like, okay, well, Jade and Bianca are on TV every single week. All right, putting the tag titles on them then makes sense, because then you're going to have them on. And even if they're not defending every single week, they're going to be on TV.
Showcasing the belts.
Yeah, and it's still going to remind you that they're a tag team. They are the champions, blah, blah, blah. So, it feels like that's inevitably going to happen, and it's hard for me to argue against it. So, yeah, that was all I wanted to say.
I'm glad you got it out.
Yeah. So, then I wanted to talk about, we only have a couple more things to talk about, because there wasn't a whole lot going on SmackDown this week, unfortunately. But we know that the tag team titles were on the line against the Street Profits. And other than the fact that, the Bloodline, they won, they retained, they beat up everybody, blah, blah, blah. The main thing, of course, was Solo forcing Jacob Fatu to forfeit his tag team championship, because Jacob has no time to be a reigning, defending tag team champion, because you know what? He is the enforcer to Solo Sikoa, and clearly that is far more important than you being one half of the tag team champions. So that, to me, feels like they really are laying the groundwork for an eventual turn of Jacob Fatu on Solo Sikoa, which I do find very interesting, because when we talked about this in the past, we said that would be a really bad, it seems like it would be a really bad move for the state of the Bloodline 2.0 to have Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns together. That feels like a completely unfair fight against Solo Sikoa and the Gorillas of Destiny. Like, I love it, because I would love to see Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. So I mean,
yes,
hopefully we get that.
Nathaniel's been asking if we're gonna see it at WrestleMania 41.
I don't think so.
I don't
We'll
think
talk
40,
about
but
not 41. But I'm also not really mad about Jacob and Roman joining forces necessarily. I just don't know how I feel about it for the success of the Bloodline 2.0 if Jacob is siding with Roman. That's a little bit questionable to me.
I don't see a turn at all with this. I don't
Not
see
even eventually.
like maybe eventually, but from this moment specifically, no. If you watch the hug when Jacob's being hugged, he's just zoned out in another world, just screaming "I love you" Solo. Like what they're doing right now is building Jacob into an absolute psychopath. The motherfucker, I wrote this 5 times in my notes here. There's no way this motherfucker is walking down to the ring in a walking boot praying. And then not only is he just walking down in the walking boot, just casually hitting super kicks with the walking boot.
But then he was also just like standing there for several minutes, just like this.
Oh, he is praying to the tribunal.
Yeah.
He is praying.
I mean,
I'm a fucking obsessed with Jacob Fatu.
I do think that if this was an effort to prove the loyalty of the Bloodline 2.0 to Solo Sikoa, I think that is a good move, because I think people have been talking about the possibility of Jacob turning on Solo since the beginning, because most people thought he was going to come in and join forces with Roman right away. So when he came in and he didn't do that, that kind of shifted that narrative, obviously. But I do think that if they're trying to make Solo like a more substantial figure, you know, because people are always constantly comparing him as the tribal chief to Roman's time as a tribal chief, then this is a good way to go about it. Like if Jacob is willing to give up a tag team title that he earned, you know, because Solo told him to, like, that's pretty powerful of Solo to do that. And the fact that Jacob of all people was willing to do it, you know, like I think if it was Tama Tonga, people wouldn't really be like shocked about it.
And no one would care, you know, that you'd actually be if it was the other way around. Solo would be being cheered because everyone was chanting "You can't wrestle."
Well, they were chanting that at Tonga Loa, not Tama Tonga, but yeah.
That's I'm sorry. That's what I thought we were talking to.
No, I said like if he was the one who Solo, if he forced Tama Tonga to forfeit it for Tonga Loa, I'm saying it wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be as significant.
But I do think, like this is something that I think we need to remember, just because we've emphasized how Triple H has gone about creating stories and stuff like that. So this feels like a significant moment that we're going to want to reflect upon at some point. But we also don't know how it's going to go. It really could be that this is basically nothing, and this could be something that they bring up in the future. But it could be, this could be the first step in Jacob eventually deciding that he doesn't want to be with the Bloodline 2.0. Well, we're not going to know for a while, obviously, because I do believe that the Bloodline stuff is going to be going on for a while, obviously. So,
that's what I'm saying. Let's enjoy the moment with the Bloodline. You have to enjoy the moment with the Bloodline.
Yeah. I don't think it's that. No. DS says Roman Reigns would completely bury Jacob Fatu so deep it would make Roman's promo with Cena look like a good day at work. If he's going to put anyone over, it's Solo. I don't agree. Jacob Fatu is a bigger star than Solo, and I am a Solo tribal chief gal. Okay.
Yeah, I don't recognize Solo as my tribal chief.
I'm not saying I recognize him as my tribal chief. I'm just saying I knew he was going to be the next tribal chief a year and a half ago. Just saying. But yeah, I mean, he has to put Solo over. I mean, we have to get to a point where Mr. Anderson also thinks he's going to be another victim to Reigns. It's possible. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I'm just saying a possibility of what we saw on SmackDown could indicate that Jacob is going to turn on Solo at some point. Speaking of turning, We got more hints.
All right, let's talk about my favorite guy.
So we saw more hints of Kevin Owens thinking about turning on Cody Rhodes, and at this point, Kevin hasn't done anything that's like super obvious to indicate that he is going to turn. But as we've already talked about, there are not a lot of heels on SmackDown specifically for Cody to feud with. And I think given the history of Cody and Kevin, I mean the bloodline connection that they have, I think it's just a matter of time. We're going to see Kevin just go buck wild at Bash in Berlin. Like, we're going to see him do something. I assume they're going to wait until Bash in Berlin. I think we'll get another hint on SmackDown, but it won't happen until Bash in Berlin. And I'm here for it because I think Kevin Owens is a great babyface, but I think that he is a much better heel. And him turning on, of all people, Cody Rhodes is gonna make him potentially rival like Dom in Heat. That is how hot it could potentially get. Not to mention how much more over that makes Cody. So it feels like that's a storyline that people would very easily buy into because people love Kevin and they love Cody. So if they have Kevin turn, they're gonna automatically hate him. And I'm just like, I really hope that's what we're getting next week.
Oh my god. From the Grayson Waller effect video package they put together of Kevin Owens, which I thought was so well done. I actually love the fact that they incorporated Chris Jericho because new era, and that was actually a massive heel turn. Like, that was a really big heel turn. It's odd, yeah.
I think that what I loved about this kind of thing, and they've done it before, since the Triple H era began, this feels like a fan-made video that you would find on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where somebody would be like, Cody, be careful, because look at all the times that Kevin turned on his friends. This feels like they knew like what people were thinking or what people might be creating, but they're putting it on TV. And as I've said, they've done it before. So I love that aspect because it's like there's a connection that if you're not social media savvy or maybe you're not super familiar with Kevin's past, very easy for them to just like put it out there like that.
It's
brilliant.
It was brilliant. And then the fact that KO comes down and admits to it and then says, Kofi, I'm sorry about that. That was on me. I popped at that. That was so funny.
Yeah.
And then the little nuances backstage. I'm not going to talk about I'm not going to feed into in the ring when he hit him because that's textbook, traditional, knocked in, boom. But the backstage interaction they had was very interesting, where he was trying to pretty much convince him. And the look that he gave after he thought he convinced him gave the idea to me that KO is upset that he doesn't think he's a threat. He doesn't think he's going to do it. And to me, that was the first step until we saw the after-match, the post-match, where KO has the title and he runs over. You think he's going to hit him with the title, but then just hands it and just does the KO standard. I'm going to get you, all that. And I truly believe we're going to see this. I need it so bad. It's why I fell in love with KO. Just total dick. I love it.
I think they can also rope in his past of like, he was one of the guys other than Randy Orton defending Cody against the Bloodline since WrestleMania, but he also helped him in the lead up to WrestleMania. So that is something that Kevin could be angry about because he was angry with Sammy and his constant involvement in the Bloodline and then bringing in Kevin, and Kevin's like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. That could easily be like maybe the root of why he's been increasingly frustrated with Cody, and then of course not taking him seriously as a threat, or kind of like giving him like a charity match, a title match with him. That is a way that they could go about it as well. And I think that's enough for people to get behind Cody. I don't agree with this. I don't think that people will cheer Kevin if he turns on Cody. That is dismissing how much people love Cody. He says it doesn't make sense, but it is life. I don't agree. People have been saying that people were going to start booing Cody since he returned because people were going to get sick of him. It's not happening, and I don't see that happening.
You're missing it, pal.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That's the case. No, it's not going to happen.
But anyway, because we're wrapping so early, I figured it is the anniversary of Bray Wyatt passing. So I figured we could maybe just take a moment to talk about Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I think you just muted yourself. Okay.
Can you hear? What are you hearing me through? AirPods.
I think it's your AirPods, yeah.
All
right, but there is your Bray t-shirt. Very nice.
Very nice. It's I wanted to wear it today. And I actually was in this basement when I found out from you.
I called you and asked you if you were sitting down.
Yeah, I didn't think it was real, and I didn't think you were ribbing me, obviously, but
no,
like you exactly, but that like initial thought, like
yeah, it's April Fool's.
You have that hit, yeah, like, and it's what's crazy is post-mortem, I don't want to say gained an appreciation because it's so much more than that, like a love for him, and not only him, the character, but the person. I still have not brought myself to watch the doc yet because I will cry, and I just little opening up to me. Don't like to really emote all the time.
I still haven't watched it for that reason because I know I've seen clips already, and I'll see like a 60-second clip and I'm like bawling. I'm like, yeah, I can't. I'm not. I know it's been a year and I didn't personally know him or anything, but like, you get emotionally invested in the wrestlers and stuff that you watch on a weekly basis that you like and that you enjoy. So I'm just not ready to like. No. I have to be in a mood that I'm okay with crying, and it's like I haven't had that in me yet. So
no, I haven't. Like it's one of he's one of the few wrestlers where it sounds crazy. See, like even emoting these feelings is kind of tough. It's like I really felt an emotional connection to, via screen. And there's everyone has them. There's just a few wrestlers that it doesn't matter what the decision is, no matter how they're being booked or what they're doing. You just love them and you just want them to be at the top. And Bray was always that for me. And he, he made me be a better wrestling fan to appreciate the horror, the dark element of it. Obviously, if you're a fan here, you can tell that I'm pretty pro baby faces and good guys.
I think your headphones died or something. It's muted. It like went out. Still muted. Still muted.
You can't hear me?
I can now.
Okay. Now?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. He really made me believe, like, really enjoy the dark elements of wrestling. Obviously the Undertaker's the Undertaker, but Bray, if you were a fan, you loved him. You were the biggest Firefly out there. And I mean, I still get goosebumps thinking about when I was at Money in the Bank. It was the first pay-per-view since being back as a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
And all I wanted to hear was the Bray Wyatt Boston we're here, because I wanted to hear him say my hometown, home city, whatever. It was like, it's crazy that he's gone. And it's even crazier how well they've handled the Wyatt 6
Mm-hmm.
and that after everything. And in another time, it would not have been done like this and as detailed and well placed. Everything has a certain purpose, where before it would be it would be treated like a circus act. And this feels so much more, and it's because of Bray, which just speaks to the impact that he made throughout the wrestling community in all promotions.
Well, and if you had asked me a year ago if I thought that we would be seeing Bo Dallas back in WWE and leading a Wyatt inspired group, I would have said you're crazy. We even had talked about that last year about like, oh, well, there were all these plans about him making a group and we were trying to figure out like, okay, who was going to be in it and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, all right, well, that's not going to happen, but like what happens to Bo because he was Uncle Howdy? Is that just going to go away? And we were like, it's fine. If that's what it is, then that's fine, because it's not our place to not be okay with it, because this is a tragedy for us for sure. But we're fans. At the end of the day, we didn't know Wyndham, so it's like,
No.
asking somebody like his brother to like put that grief aside and please continue doing a character that you did with your brother is just selfish and wrong. So the fact that it happened and that it's going as well as it is right now, I still think is like, it's mind-blowing to me, because I don't know how they're doing it. I applaud them for wanting to do it. And I think they're, like you said, they're going about it the right way in all aspects. And it's like never not emotional, I feel like, when we see them on TV.
No.
And it's like after everything they do, specifically for Bo, he's just like always making references to why he's doing it. And it's for Bray. And so it's like kind of in a way to make it so it's like he's not really gone, which I think is somewhat helpful for the fans as well. Because as much as we've said that this feels like therapy for Bo and the rest of the guys that were close with Bray, this feels like it helps the fans as well in that aspect, because it does feel like we didn't get to say goodbye. And the last time that we saw Bray, it felt very unfinished. So to see that his legacy is still being carried on in a group and it's going far better than I think anyone imagined is really cool. So yeah, it sucks that we're talking about this a year later, but yeah, I'm glad that I think we said this last year. I said it while crying though. That I'm glad that I was a wrestling fan long enough to be able to see Bray Wyatt and to be like have the privilege of being able to watch him perform, from beginning to the end, because I watched him on NXT when he was supposed to be dashing Cody Rhodes' disgusting rookie. And Husky Harris. And and then I watched him all the way to the end. So I'm very thankful for that. Let's see. I want to see what some other people are saying about Bray. Mr. Anderson said the documentary was very well done and that he cried a little bit. It's part of the reason why I can't I can't watch it. Nathaniel says that he wished that we got to see Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker or Edge. I'm still glad that we got to see Undertaker and Bray in the ring together. DS makes a good point that we never got to see Demon Finn Balor and The Fiend. That is very true. And I loved Dashing Cody Rhodes, but I don't think we're not going to get that. It's fine, but that was an era. That was
that was an error.
That was
We're
an
not
era.
going to see that.
That I met Dashing Cody Rhodes in 2010, and the line was so short, I got to go through it twice in like 5 minutes. So,
you've said that.
Yes. So, anyway, that was SmackDown.
That was SmackDown, guys. It was a good show. I was thoroughly entertained. Entertained. I think the Bash in Berlin is going to be a dynamite show. It's going to be a really good show. I'm excited to watch it. I'm also excited for the other wrestling that's going on in the next week, because there's a lot of shows next week, starting with All In tomorrow, and then there's Bash in Berlin next week, but then there's stuff leading up to it that's going to be good, like TNA stuff. So yeah, like, guys, it's the best time to be a wrestling fan. All right. So that's why you keep it here. Keep it real. Hang with us and whatnot. We thank you for tuning into this edition of the SmackDown Breakdown, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. Yes.
We're only doing 2 shows next week. The Raw Rewind and Bash in Berlin predictions during the Thursday show.
Good communication.
Yeah, and then depending on how Bash in Berlin goes, that will dictate if we go live Saturday or on Sunday, just to talk about it. Depends on what we're doing. Also, it just depends on how everything pans out. So if you don't see the SmackDown Breakdown next week, that's because Saturday is the show, and it'll be on at a weird time because of the time difference.
1 p.m.
Oh, so 10 a.m. Awesome. But yeah, so I just wanted to remind everybody that was watching, just in case. I'm
so jealous of you. You're like 10 a.m.
Well, that's
God, it's my dream.
Well, that's why I told you it's going to be such a weird experience for you to go to WrestleMania 41, because the show starts at 5. SmackDown starts at 5. Raw starts at 5. So it's going to be like, we're going to leave, the show, and we'll be like, all right, where are we going? It's not late. You can go get dinner or something.
That's what I'm fucking so excited for.
Yeah.
We can go get dinner. You can go out. We can, because you got a little taste of Out Pits, which is happening tonight. I'm very excited. You got a little taste of that at Wale Mania, but like, Party Pits is one of my favorite personas. All right. It's one of my favorites. And you can check out all the other personas and whatnot. Links in the description below. Social media. All right. Click on those links. Follow us on all social medias. Did I say subscribe? Hit that subscribe button. All right. If I didn't already. Okay. And then you said that about the SmackDown Breakdown. That's all I got.
Yeah. We'll see you guys Tuesday. That's all I got for you
guys. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. See you Tuesday.